It's been a while since the last Sports Paws. We'll give you a recap of all the Quinnipiac athletics action that happened over the summer.
And the defending national champion rugby team took on American International on Friday. Would it live up to its title and continue the win streak?
And women's soccer's strength in underclassmen has led them to success so far this season. All the highlights coming your way.
And my personal favorite time of the night, we highlight for you the top 5 plays of the week. Don't go anywhere. Sports Paws starts right now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first Sports Paws of the year. I'm Victoria Rutigliano.
And I'm Sierra Goodwill. Victoria, is it just me, or did summer feel extra long this year?
It felt very long.
Well, I am so excited to be back at the desk talking about the week that was in Quinnipiac athletics.
I am too, Sierra, but before we get to that, we have John Franklin and Chris Stacey joining us live outside on the piazza to break down all that happened this summer in Quinnipiac sports. Guys?
Hey, thanks guys. My name is Chris Stacey here with John Franklin. I have a lot of exciting news coming out of Quinnipiac this summer. So let's start off. Men's ice hockey. What news have we got there?
Well, Chris, it's great to be back in the piazza. Very excited to be live. And the news you're talking about, Rand Pecknold led his team to its 4th straight NCAA tournament appearance, its 2nd final in program history. He got signed till 2021. Huge extension for the Bobcats.
All right, from the ice rink, let's take it on to the basketball court. Women's basketball coach. What news do we have there?
Well, the coach, Trisha Fabry, is who you're talking about. And I could say a lot about her, but just to keep it short, she took the program and got it its first postseason win in the WNIT this year against Maine. A 90-44 thrashing the Bobcats handed them. She also will be signed until 2021. That's a huge signing for the Bobcats as well.
All right, let's shift over to some players, some athletes. Let's talk about men's soccer sophomore Rashawn Daly. What do you have about him?
Well, Chris, I got some news about Rashawn Daly that Bobcat fans are going to go crazy about. The freshman, he had 1 goal last year and 2 assists for the Bobcats. Very good freshman campaign. He started in 18 of 19 games, but get this, Chris. The 1 game he didn't start in, that was senior day. So obviously a freshman's not going to start on senior day. The big news on him, he's playing for the under-20 men's Jamaican national team in their qualifying round. That is huge to promote the Bobcats. Big news for the sophomore, especially going into this season.
All right, back to the ice hockey rink. We have Chase Priskley. He just got drafted. What can you tell us about him?
Well, what I can tell you is what you just said. Chase Prisky, guys, he got drafted. 6th round to the Washington Capitals, huge for the Bobcats. He had 22 assists, 22. That was first among ECAC freshmen. He was an ECAC freshman all-rookie team nominee, and he won that. He was on the all-ECAC rookie team, and that's huge for the Bobcats, as I said.
Speaking about being drafted, Thomas Jenkins, what can you say about him?
Well, Thomas Jenkins, he also got drafted to the Milwaukee Brewers. That's big for the Bobcats. He was a senior last year, graduated. He had 180 strikeouts on his career and a 3.50 ERA.
All right, and last one we have Giovanni McLean. What can you tell us about him?
Well, Giovanni McLean, the big news about him, he's in his 6th year of college eligibility, not playing in the blue and gold for the Bobcats. He'll be playing for the Texas Tech Red Raiders this year.
All right, and that's all we have time for. If you have any more, if you'd like to see any more information, please visit our website at www.q30television.com. My name's Chris Stacey. This was John Franklin. Back to you guys on the desks.
After taking home the national championship last year, the Quinnipiac women's rugby team picked up where it left off, defeating, you guessed it, Army 32-19 in its first game this season. Alona Marr tallied 2 tries in the contest, and the Bobcats went on to win its 7th straight victory dating back to 2015. We're now going to take you to its 2nd game this season. The Bobcats stayed local in this game, took on American International in Springfield, Mass. We're going to take you straight to the field. 5 minutes into the first half here, Flora Poole passes one over to Maggie Miles, who's wide open on the far side. She takes it in, gets the try, 5-0 QU early in this game. 24 minutes later, Alona Marr passes one off to Emily Roscoff. She's in the exact same position Miles was a few minutes earlier, and she gets the try, 10-0 Quinnipiac. Later on in the first half, Alona Marr again passes it off to McKay Maples. She's wide open. She runs one in easily. It is now 15-0 QU. That is Maples' first career try. And Madison Grekus gets the conversion here, 17-0 QU. I mean, they are just toppling. this team. Later on, Maggie Miles passes one off to Emily Roscoff. She makes the score 22-0 by the end of the first half, but that's not it for the Bobcats. They're going to double their score in the second, winning this game 44-0 and getting its first shutout since 2013. I mean, this is why they are the reigning national champions.
Since joining the Big East Conference, the Quinnipiac field hockey team has struggled. They've yet to pick up a win with their tough out-of-conference opponents, but it played University of Vermont on Friday. Let's check it out. Coming into this, Quinnipiac was 0-5, Vermont at 3-1. Let's head right into the second half, where Vermont's Carla Godsman scores her third goal of the season, giving Vermont the 1-0 lead in the latter part of the game. Sticking with it in the second half, Quinnipiac giving Vermont the opportunity to capitalize and grow their lead. They get called for the foul here, giving Vermont a penalty corner. Vermont's Landon Warren definitely will capitalize on that opportunity, scoring her fourth goal of the season, putting up Vermont by 2. That they will stay with that comfortable lead and defeat Quinnipiac 2-0.
The field hockey team then hosted Lafayette at home in New Haven. Felicia Costanzo opened the scoring in the first half, giving the Bobcats a 1-0 lead, but late in the second half, Lafayette was able to get their own goal, making it 1-1. Later, in overtime now, Lafayette's Cameron Costello scores on a breakaway, and they go on to win this game 2-0. The field hockey team falls to 0-6 on the season.
We'll now bring in Justin Cloutier to discuss the team's stagnant start this season. Justin, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Sierra. Happy to be here.
Well, so since joining the Big East Conference, the team has had a tougher non-conference schedule. They've fallen to 0-6 on this young season. Do you think they can turn it around?
Oh, absolutely. This team is all about their in-conference games. I think the Big East, the switch, does hurt them a lot, but nonetheless, they have winnable games coming up on the schedule. This Friday, they're going to be playing Georgetown in an absolutely winnable game. We'll see how they perform.
And Justin, who are some key players to look out for to try to get the Bobcats back on a winning streak?
Well, I mean, I really think you got to look at a player like Michelle Federico, one of the captains on this team. She may be a junior and that role may be bigger for her, but she's going to really need to start putting some numbers up. She started 5 games, played in all 6, yet she hasn't scored any points. There's only 4 players on this team with any points. They're really going to have to turn it around.
And Justin, what are some must-win games for the Bobcats, especially with conference play coming just around the corner?
Oh, must-win games, you got to look to Georgetown this weekend. Their first ever Big East matchup. They have to win this one. Absolutely huge for Becca Main's team and the rest, and Angie King as well. You got to also look at teams like Providence and Temple in Philadelphia. They're going to be getting cheesesteaks before the game. I know I'm going to. They're going to really need to win those games. Look for them to try to at least get 3 wins in the Big East this season, then that would be an absolutely successful season.
So Justin, obviously the team was a powerhouse in the MAC. They lost at Fairfield in the MAC championship last year. They're not doing so hot right now against these non-conference opponents. Do you think that this transition to the Big East was a mistake for the Bobcats?
Oh, absolutely not, Victoria. I think this transition to the Big East will only further this program's growth. Last season, or the past 2 seasons, they started off 1-6. Granted, they're 0-6 right now. Look for them to turn it to 1-6, and I'm not saying they're going to make the Big East playoffs like they were making the MAC playoffs these past couple years, but look for them to actually get some wins in conference.
Justin, always insightful. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Coming up after the break, the men's soccer team looks to continue its 2-game win streak. Will it be successful?
And Q30's MJ Baird had the chance to sit down with women's soccer head coach Dave Clark to talk about the youth of his team. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Paws. in the end, we're here to win the championship this year.
Jess Fontaine now has that. She's going to take a ripper off the post, but she's going to come back.
And my number one, hold your applause, Bobcats fans, is Quinnipiac.
All right, Victoria, you know what time it is. It's top 5 plays of the week.
My favorite time.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. Giant cheesesteak subs and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Yep, you're reading that date right. Coming into this season, the men's soccer team hadn't won a home game since October 29th, 2014. I mean, Sierra, that's really tough.
It's been a while.
So let's put that into perspective. The last time the team won a home game, Happy by Pharrell Williams was the #1 song.
LeBron James then returned to his hometown in Cleveland, and apparently, the apparently kid went viral.
675 days. The good news for the Bobcats fans is the team broke its losing streak in its second home game of the season, defeating Lafayette 2-0. They then hosted UMass Lowell on Saturday, so let's take the tape on that one. They hosted UMass Lowell. They came in 2-2. UMass Lowell coming in hot, 4-0. Let's take it straight to the second half. Not a lot happened in the first. We're going to see Quinnipiac's Ryan Schneiderman shooting way wide on UMass Lowell's Austin Kroll. The score stays 0-0, but not for long, with UMass Lowell's Carlos Ruiz crossing one in to Alito Fernandez. He easily finds it off his head. They get the 1-0 lead early into this second half, and this guy is just unstoppable. That's his 5th goal of the season so far. This is only their 5th game. He's averaging a goal a game. Now on a cross here, UMass Lowell's Joe Kellett shoots on the Quinnipiac Bobcats, but little pushing and shoving. Trying again by Ivan Vlasic, but he gets the rebound wide. It's still 1-0. Now Quinnipiac's Ryan Schneiderman gets around a couple defenders here and there on the far side, crosses a beautiful cross from Max Rothenbucher, who goes so wide over the net it could have been a field goal. No goal there for the Bobcats. 28 minutes into the second half, we're going to see Ivan Vlasic passing one over to Wilito Fernandez, his 2nd goal of the game. This offensive line is just incredible. They're scoring goal after goal after goal in each one of their games. It is now 2-0 UMass Lowell. Late in the second half, though, Quinnipiac will get one back, with Max Rothenbucher getting past a couple defenders, passing it over to Ryan Schneiderman. He heads it into the net. It's 2-1 late in this game. He's trying to get the ball here. You can see UMass Lowell's goalie's not too happy about that. But the pushing and shoving was kind of the story of the game on this one. Towards the end of the game, there were a couple yellow cards handed out after a late foul in the game. 4 yellow cards in total, but here is Eric DaCosta postgame after the 2-1 loss. It
was a little bit of a slow start in terms of our possession, but defensively we were great. Our shape was excellent. The boys really implemented our tactical plan and our strategy coming into the game. For a young team with that many young players, to be able to adapt that quickly is very promising for a coach. It just wasn't as sharp as it needed to be, but we can improve on that for sure.
And Sierra, Brian Westerman played in net for that game, but it's going to be interesting to see who Eric DaCosta chooses to be his #1 goalie going into this season, because they have 2 really great options in net.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely something to look out for, Victoria. But now let's transition to the women's soccer team, who faced off against Bryant on Wednesday. The Bobcats made the short travel to Smithfield, Rhode Island to take on the 3-2 Bulldogs. Let's head right into the first half, 20 minutes in. But let's take a listen to what the play-by-play commentator had to say about this one.
Turnover. Here's Gill racing into the 18. Conrad out the shot, and Gill scores. Bryant turned it over, and Gill Immediately charges downfield, and she buries it past Conrad.
Still in the first half, you'll see the only significant scoring opportunity for the Bulldogs, but it's denied by the Bobcats. They'll go on to win 1-0. Next on Sunday, Quinnipiac faced Albany, the last non-conference game for the Bobcats. Albany won the American East Conference last season, so it's quite a tough matchup for the Bobcats. Jess Fontaine over to Nadia Gill. Nadia screaming to the ref. She thinks this was a goal. Let's take another look. Did this ball cross the blue line? I'm not so sure, Victoria. Let's freeze the frame, zoom in.
That's close.
Victoria, I think the Bobcats might have been robbed of a goal here, but the ref calls no goal. It is 0-0. 15 minutes later, though, Jess Fontaine will get the ball and get a little bit of redemption. She'll go 5-hole on the Albany goalie. Quinnipiac takes the 1-0 lead. Now at the 30th minute, Alexa Schneider nutmegs her defender through the legs up to her teammate Kiana Rugger, who finishes upper 90. It's tied 1-1 heading into the second half. Now Albany's Gina Barcamonte scores from way outside, but actually it will deflect off the foot of Kylie Lance, a Quinnipiac defender. A little bit of an own goal there. Albany takes the 2-0 lead. But look at this boot. I think you might see this one later. Albany goes on to win 3-1. Earlier this week, Sports Paws associate producer MJ Baird had the chance to talk to head coach Dave Clark about the impact his underclassmen has played so far this season.
So Dave, I'm here, women's soccer coach here at Quinnipiac. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me. So just first off, what are your thoughts so far on the season that you've seen from your team?
I'm happy. We're where we were hoping we would be. You always expect to get off to a good start, and you set the schedule up that way. So after yesterday's win, we're on track for a lot of our goals, not just in terms of wins, but performance and statistics, and it's sort of the foundation then moving forward for the MAC.
So obviously last year you had a big freshman presence on the team, a big impact. What do you foresee from them this year now as sophomores?
It's a collective thing. You learn over time that you look at numbers of players and you say, all right, we've got 3 freshmen, but what you forget is that they're giving up years. And so last year we had 13 freshmen, and it's if you're playing against a team with 5 seniors, you're giving up years of experience, years of strength training. So this year they're a year older. They've had a year under their belt, a year more experience, a year of full-time training. They now know what it's like to be a Division I athlete, and we keep stressing the difference between being a Division I player and a Division I athlete, and that's continued on. So last year was sort of the foundation for their 4 years. This year was build on it, and 2017, 2018 expand as best we can.
So going off of that, with the new freshmen this year, the transition to, like you said, being a Division I athlete, how has that gone for them? How have you seen their improvement just from the preseason even now?
What we've been able to do with this freshman class is take the pressure off them. Last year's class was the one that we played, and in hindsight now, when you look back and some of the goals that we gave up late, like Maris, for example, and some of the situations that we found ourselves in, it was down to inexperience. So this year's freshman class, we're able to rest them, we're able to rotate them, we're able to take them out of the firing line. In a couple of the games where it's been tight, Toledo, yesterday at Bryant, we didn't have freshmen out on the field at the end. We took them out of it, and it was a collective, it was a little bit of an older, stronger team. So that's one of the benefits of the class now being the sophomores.
To see the full interview with Dave Clark, check out our website at www.q30television.com. But when we come back, Carrie Golden sits down with Flora Poole of the women's rugby team to talk about her life outside of Quinnipiac.
And don't forget about the top 5 plays of the week. I know Victoria hasn't. Sports Paws, we'll be right back.
evening and welcome to Sports Paws.
In the end, we're here to win the championship this year.
Jess Fontana has that. She's going to take a ripper off the post, but she's going to come back.
And my number one, hold your applause, Bobcats fans, is Quinnipiac.
All right, Victoria, you know what time it is. It's top 5 plays of the week.
My favorite time.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken and cheese for just over $4. Giant cheesesteak subs and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Qcash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Thanks for sticking with us here on Sports Paws. The Quinnipiac volleyball team is off to its best start in years and is only 2 games shy of the most wins it's ever had in Division I program history. It went on a 4-game winning streak earlier this school year, and then it hosted UMass Lowell this Tuesday. Let's take the tape. Victoria, UMass Lowell picked up its first win in Division I program history here in Hamden against Quinnipiac 2 years ago. So always a little bit of a need for revenge for the Bobcats, but will they get it? There, Maddie Bell puts it down. She led the team with 13 kills. And then response by Kat Miller off a great dig, but it wasn't enough for the Bobcats in the first set. They lost 25-21. Then here in the third set, Allison Lee roofs it. She's been a huge presence in the middle all season long. But then Alima Ozzie just puts it right past the Quinnipiac libero. Riverhawks win that set 25-19, and Lowell goes on to win 3-0.
The volleyball team then hosted Fairleigh Dickinson after dropping 3 straight matches this year. Could they get back on track? Let's check it out. We're going to take you straight to the second set with Quinnipiac's Maria Pinzari setting up Allison Lee for the kill. They go on to win the second set. They are up 2-0. Into the third set now, Fairleigh Dickinson's Abigail Straba gets a kill here. No Quinnipiac player there to save that one. Quinnipiac's up 2-1. Into the fourth set now, Rebecca Sable of Fairleigh Dickinson with a great save. But Quinnipiac's Natalie Aleko gets the kill here. They are up 22-13 in the fourth set. Match point here. Quinnipiac's Natalie Aleko makes it look easy. She gets the match point. They go on to win the game 3-1. Aleko finished with 12 kills in the match.
The volleyball team then headed to Providence, Rhode Island to play in the Friar Classic. They took the first match against LaSalle, then dropped to Holy Cross, a game that middle hitter Elizabeth Clue said that they should have won, but they rebounded that loss with a win over the host team Providence in a 5-set match. The team that was on a 9-game winning streak. Victoria, I really think that marks a change for this team.
It really does, and I think it's going to give them a lot more confidence moving into conference play.
Absolutely.
So not many students can say that they travel more than 9,000 miles to come to Quinnipiac, come to any school, really. So how do you even go about finding a school so far away?
Probably not too many tours beforehand, but Carrie Golden got a chance to sit down with rugby center Flora Poole to talk about her life at Quinnipiac after traveling from New Zealand, her home country.
Hi, I'm Carrie Golden. Today I'm joined by junior rugby player Flora Poole. Flora, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome.
What's it like going to school so far away from home?
It is a bit different compared to New Zealand universities. The travel part, like the distance, doesn't really affect me anymore because after high school I traveled for 2 years on my own, so I hadn't seen my family in nearly 2 years. So being away from home, that's not so bad anymore. But the culture is just a bit different. The university here especially is a lot smaller than in New Zealand. Obviously, you guys, drinking age is 21 here, in New Zealand it's 18, so it's a bit, just a little bit different. But it's a lot of fun. The people are great, very, very friendly, so it's great.
Now, you talked about traveling before and how you were a big traveler.
Yeah.
On your bio, it says that you've been to 12 different countries. Which one has been your favorite?
My favorite country is Germany.
How come?
When you say, are you going to Europe, what's the big countries that you think of straight off the bat?
Like England.
Yeah.
That area, France, Italy.
France, Italy, Spain. Those are generally your big 3 in Europe. But people forget about Germany. And I went to Germany saying, oh yeah, I'll go there. And I completely fell in love because I was not expecting anything, like absolutely anything. And the people there were so friendly. Like the Germans love to practice their English, and they just like surround you and like want to ask you questions and like have discussions with you. And I've known a couple of Germans, and I still Skype them and have like conversations with them. And they just love practicing their English, and they're like, it's amazing.
So cool.
And the food there is amazing. And I went to Oktoberfest as well. So that was just like one rage. That was incredible. It was so much fun. I loved it. I loved it a lot.
The last thing I want to ask you is, I understand you've lived through 2 earthquakes during your life. What was that like? What were your experiences during that?
The first one was in September 2010, and it was a 7.1. And it was at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was, the epicenter was a couple of kilometers outside of the city center, and it was really, really deep. So even though it was big, it wasn't very shallow, so it didn't like create a lot of damage. And it was at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I woke up, and my whole bedroom was just shaking. And me being in my day's sleep, I was like, this is a weird dream, and just went straight back to sleep. And it wasn't until my mom came over to me, like screaming, like, "Flora, get out of bed!" And I was just like, "Huh, okay, maybe not a dream." That one was okay. It was the one in February 2011. That was a 6.3, and the epicenter of that earthquake was right underneath the city center. It was only a kilometer shallow, and it was at lunchtime. So everybody was out and about. Everybody was doing their daily duties. I remember I was at school, and I had just gone to the caf to get some food, and I came into the year 12 common room at the time, and everything just started moving. Everybody started screaming, and it was over in like seconds. But we went back out the route that we came, and the whole concrete had like split, and all this water was just flooding up from below, and everybody was running out to the field.
The Quinnipiac golf team made a trip to the Navy Fall Invitational in Maryland. The Bobcats as a whole finished in 7th place out of 16 teams, but a freshman that made an immediate impact is Alexander Sazin, who carded a first-round 75 plus 3 for an individual 7th place finish.
And finally, we're going to take you guys to the top 5 plays, my personal favorite time of the night, Sierra.
Victoria, 3 months. I don't know how you did it without it.
I don't know either, but we're going to show it to you right now. Top 5 plays of the week. I'll take the odds. You can have the evens. Let's bring it in right now. We're going to take you first to volleyball versus UMass Lowell. Rodriguez making a phenomenal dig right there, and then Kat Miller getting the spike. They get the point. What a great dig from Rodriguez.
Number 4, men's soccer versus UMass Lowell. The Riverhawks catapult the ball up to number 10, Walito Fernandez. He'll give the Riverhawks a 2-0 lead over the Bobcats.
And he was just phenomenal in that game. I mean, 2 goals from him. On to number 3, Quinnipiac's Emily Roscoff gets her 2nd try off a pass from Maggie Miles. And I mean, you heard it in the highlight. They won that game 44-0, but a great try there.
Number 2, here is Alexa Schneider putting a nutmeg on her defender, and then Kaya Ruger for her first goal of the game, going top shelf.
And finally, the number 1 play of the game, a long-range pass from Caitlin Pelticios allows Kiana Ruger to get a volley goal right there. What a beauty from her. And they obviously went on to win the game 3-1. And that is your top 5 plays of the week, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Victoria, that's it for the first Sports Pause of the semester, but this is just the beginning for Q30 Sports. Make sure you follow our website. Go on our website at www.q30television.com for all of our Q athletics coverage.
And to see more of the Meet the Bobcats segment featuring Flora Poole. You can also check us out on Twitter at Q30 Sports. For Sierra Goodwill, I'm Victoria Rutigliano. Have a great night.